My husband's new wife showed up at my door with a smug grin and said, "We're here for our rightful share of your father's estate. Pack your things and move out immediately." I simply smiled just as my lawyer stepped in behind her. Husband's new wife showed up at my door, a greedy smirk on her face. "We're here for our rightful share of your father's estate," she declared. "Move out immediately." I smiled as my lawyer walked in right behind her. The morning dew was still, clinging to the roses when I heard the crunch of expensive heels on my garden path. I didn't have to look up. Only one person would wear Louboutins to stomp through my father's prized garden. Madeline, her voice dripped with fake sweetness, still playing in the dirt, I see. I kept pruning my father's white roses, the ones he planted for my wedding day, the wedding that ended when my husband ran off with a woman now standing behind me. "Hello, Haley. You know why I'm here?" She moved closer, her shadow falling over the flower bed. "The reading of the will is tomorrow, and Holden and I think it's best if we discuss things civilly." I finally turned, wiping my soil-covered hands on my apron. "It's nothing to discuss. This is my father's house. His estate," Haley corrected, her perfectly painted red lips curling. "And since Holden was like a son 2 miles for 15 years, we believe we're entitled to our fair share." The shears in my hand felt heavy. It's the same Holden who cheated on his daughter with his secretary. That Holden? Ancient history. Haley waved a hand dismissively. Miles forgave him. He still played golf every Sunday until... She paused dramatically. "Well, you know, my father's death was still a raw, open wound. He'd been gone just weeks, and this vulture was already circling what she thought was easy prey. My father wouldn't have left Holden anything," I said firmly. "He was many things, but he wasn't stupid." Haley's fake smile faltered. "We'll see about that. Your brother Isaiah seems to think differently." The mention of my brother sent a chill down my spine. We hadn't spoken since the funeral, where he'd spent more time consoling Holden than me. "You've spoken to Isaiah?" "Honey," Haley cooed, stepping closer. "We've done more than speak. He's been very helpful." I gripped the shears, remembering Dad's words from years ago. "The roses need a firm hand, Maddie, but never a cruel one." "Get off my property, Haley," I said quietly, "before I forget my manners." She laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Your property? That's cute." "This house is worth millions, Madeline. Did you really think you'd get to keep it all?" "My father built this house brick by brick," I said, my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. "Isn't about money. This is about legacy. Legacy." Haley snorted. "Wake up, Madeline. Everything is about money. And tomorrow, you're going to learn that the hard way." She turned to leave, pausing at the gate. "Oh, and you might want to start packing? Holden and I will need at least a month to renovate before we move in." As her heels clicked away, I looked down at the roses, their petals spotted with soil where my trembling hands had crushed them. Dad always said white roses represented new beginnings, but all I could see was red. I pulled out my phone and dialed Aaliyah. "It's me. Haley just paid me a visit." "Yeah, she's exactly as bad as we thought. Can you come over?" My best friend's voice was firm. "I'll be there in minutes. Don't worry, Madeline. Your father was smarter than they know." As I ended the call, I noticed a small envelope under a rosebush. The handwriting was unmistakably my father's address to me. I picked it up, wondering how long it had been waiting there. "Well, Dad," I whispered, "looks like you left me one last surprise." Aaliyah arrived with her legal briefcase in one hand and a bottle of wine in the other. "Figured we might need this," she said, walking into Dad's study. I was still holding the unopened letter perched on the edge of his leather chair. The room smelled of pipe tobacco and old books, a scent I wasn't ready to lose to Haley's renovations. "You haven't opened it yet?" Aaliyah asked. "I wanted to wait for you." "Open it," she insisted, pouring 2 glasses of wine. "Your father was very specific about certain things being revealed at certain times." What do you mean? She handed me a glass. Open the letter. With trembling fingers, I broke the seal. Inside was a single sheet of paper and a small key. Dear Maddie, I read aloud, my father's voice echoing in my head. If you're reading this, then someone has already made a move on the estate. I'm guessing it's Haley. She always did remind me of a charcoal teeth and no soul. Aaliyah snorted into her wine. The key opens the bottom drawer of my desk. Inside, you'll find everything you need. Remember what I taught you about? Chess, sometimes you have to sacrifice a pawn to protect the queen. Love, Dad. I looked up at Aaliyah, who was already moving toward the desk. You knew about this? I helped him set it up, she admitted. Your father came to me months ago, right after his diagnosis. He knew exactly how this would play out. The drawer clicked open. Inside was a thick envelope and a USB drive. Before you look, Aaliyah said, there's something you need to know. Your father added a codicil to the will 3 days before he died. A what? A modification. And trust me, it's going to change everything. Spread the contents of the envelope on the desk. Photos spilled out, dozens of them. Haley meeting someone in a dark parking lot. Holden entering a lawyer's office that wasn't Aaliyah's bank statements. Email printouts. He had them investigated. Kata Aaliyah's smile was sharp. He had them followed. That USB drive has video of Haley trying to bribe your father's nurse for information about his will. My hands shook as I picked up a photo. Is that Isaiah meeting with Haley? 3 weeks before your father died, Aaliyah confirmed. But look at his face in the next photo. The second picture showed my brother leaving, his expression twisted with disgust, holding what looked like a check. He kept it as evidence, Aaliyah explained. Brought it straight to your father. That's when Miles knew he had to act fast. But Haley said Isaiah was helping them. Your brother's been playing a dangerous game, Madeline, feeding them just enough information to keep them confident, all while helping your father gather evidence. I sank back into the chair, my mind spinning. Why didn't he tell me? 'Cause Haley needed to show her hand first, Aaliyah said. Tomorrow, when I read the will, they're going to think they've won. The initial reading will grant them a significant portion of the estate. What? I stood so fast I tipped over my wine. Let me finish. That's when the codicil kicks in. Your father set up a trap. The moment they accept the inheritance, they trigger a clause that reveals their attempted manipulation and fraud. Everything, the photos, the videos, the bribes, becomes public record. I stared at the evidence, understanding dawning. He made them think they won so they'd incriminate themselves. Exactly. Aaliyah's grin was triumphant. The real will leaves everything to you, with a trust for Isaiah. Haley and Holden get nothing, except a very public exposure of their true characters. She finished her wine. Tomorrow, we watch them walk right into it. One more thing, Aaliyah added softly. Isaiah asked to see you tonight. He has something else you need to know. I looked out at the setting sun. Tell him to come over. It's time we had a family reunion. Isaiah arrived after dark, looking exhausted. He clutched a leather portfolio like a shield. You look terrible, I said. Yeah, well, playing double agent isn't as fun as it looks in the movies. He gestured to the evidence on the desk. I see you found Dad's insurance policy. Why didn't you tell me what you were doing? The question came out sharper than I intended. He slumped into a chair. 'Cause I needed to make it right. After everything with Holden, the way I treated you, I was an idiot, Maddie. You were my brother, I corrected. You were supposed to be on my side. I know. He opened his portfolio and pulled out a check. This is what Haley offered me to testify that Dad wasn't of sound mind. $500,000. I stared at it. But you didn't cash it? No, I took it straight to Dad. Saya's voice cracked. You should have seen his face, Maddie. Not angry, just disappointed. That's when he told me his plan. There's more, he continued, pulling out a phone. I've recorded everything. He pressed play, and Haley's voice filled the room. Once the old man kicks it, we'll contest the will. That bitch Madeline won't know what hit her. When was this? 2 months ago? But wait, it gets worse. He fast-forwarded, and Holden's voice came on. We sell the house, liquidate the assets. Madeline can go back to her little apartment and her pathetic gardening business. She never deserved any of this. Turn it off, I whispered. Isaiah then pulled out one last document. This is why I came. She didn't just want the money, Maddie. She wanted revenge. Revenge for what? For making Holden feel guilty. For making him look bad when you caught them together. The memory hit me like a physical blow. This document, Isaiah said, proves she started embezzling from Dad's company 6 months before you even caught them. He handed me the paper. Bank transfers, account numbers. Dad knew. Found out right before his diagnosis. He was building a case. But then the cancer. It's when he started planning this. Instead, tomorrow's going to be brutal, Maddie, Isaiah said. They think they've got it all figured out. Haley's even hired a camera crew to document the historic moment. Despite everything, I laughed. She hired cameras to record her own downfall. Dad would have appreciated the irony. Listen, Isaiah said, a real smile finally on his face. I know I can't fix the past 3 years, but whatever happens tomorrow, I've got your back. I stood by the window, looking out at the moonlit garden. I see clearly now, Isaiah. I see what Dad was trying to teach us. He nodded. That sometimes the biggest victory isn't in winning. It's in letting your enemies defeat themselves. I finished. The morning of the will reading, I watched Aaliyah arrange papers on Dad's desk while Haley's camera crew set up. Haley swept in, wearing a dress that cost more than my car, with Holden trailing behind her. Let's begin, Aaliyah announced. The initial reading went as planned. 60% of the estate to me, 40% to Holden and Haley. I knew it. Squealed, grabbing Holden's arm. However, Aaliyah continued. There is a codicil to the will. Haley's smile faltered. A what? A modification, Holden explained, looking nervous. Aaliyah broke the seal on a new envelope. Acceptance of any inheritance is contingent upon a full investigation into certain financial irregularities. The room went silent. What irregularities? Haley asked. Perhaps these will explain, Aaliyah said, sliding the photos across the desk. Or this USB drive with footage of attempted bribery. Or these bank statements showing embezzlement. Holden's face drained of color. Where did you get these? Dad had quite a collection. Isaiah spoke up from the corner, including recordings of you planning to contest the will based on false testimony. Haley shot up, her chair toppling over. Turn those cameras off now. Oh no, I said, standing to face her. The cameras stay. You wanted to document this, remember? You can't do this, she hissed at Holden. But he was staring at a photo of himself entering a competitor's office with confidential documents. The codicil is clear, Aaliyah said. Attempt to claim inheritance triggers the release of all this evidence to the authorities. The choice is yours. Choice. Haley laughed hysterically. You've trapped us. No, I corrected her. You trapped yourselves. She whirled on Isaiah. You were supposed to help us. I did help, he shrugged. Just not you. Holden, do something, she pleaded. But he was already straightening his tie. It's over, Haley. It's the hell it is. I won't let that bitch win. That bitch is my daughter. Dad's voice filled the room. Aaliyah had pressed play. His face appeared on a monitor, thin, but determined. If you're watching this, it means you've shown your true colors. Greed is a terrible teacher, but consequences are excellent students. Haley's mascara ran as she backed away. This isn't over. Actually, Aaliyah said calmly, it is. The police are waiting in the foyer to discuss the embezzlement. I'd suggest cooperating. As Haley and Holden were led away, the cameras still rolling, I felt Dad's presence everywhere. He had orchestrated it all. The media circus that followed was exactly what Haley had wanted, just not how she'd planned it. Her arrest was on every channel. "It gets better," Aaliyah said, bursting into the study. The DA just called. They found offshore accounts, dummy corporations. She was running a whole network of fraud. A police detective arrived. "Miss Harrison, we found this in Miss West's apartment." He handed me a document that made my blood run cold. Detailed notes on accidents that could befall me. Plans to frame Isaiah, sketches of how she wanted to destroy Dad's garden. "She would have killed me," I said flatly. The detective nodded grimly. "This upgrades the charges significantly. She's looking at 15 to 20 years minimum." After he left, Alia's phone buzzed. Holden just finished his statement. "He's admitted to everything." "Did he know about her plans for me?" "No," Isaiah said, scanning the documents. She kept that part to herself. A thought struck me. Dad knew, didn't. Alia nodded slowly. "He suspected. That's why he hired the pies. He wasn't just protecting his legacy. He was protecting you." We sat in stunned silence until the detective returned. "We've been going through Miss West's contacts. She's not who she claims to be." He laid out a series of fake IDs. "Her real name is Margaret Phillips. She's wanted in 3 states for similar schemes. The FBI has been looking for her for years." Margaret Phillips. The name hit me. The woman convicted in that fraud case in Florida. "Her biggest target yet was your father," the detective said. Aaliyah was already on the phone. "I'm calling the DA with these priors. She's looking at life." A month later, I was in a courtroom watching Margaret, in an orange jumpsuit, being led in. Her eyes locked on mine, filled with hatred. When the prosecutor called me to the stand, I described everything, my voice steady. When confronted with the evidence of her plans to harm me, Margaret erupted. "He was a manipulative old man," she screamed. "You think you've won? I destroyed your marriage, and I'll find a way to destroy everything else." As bailiffs dragged her away, I caught Isaiah's eye. He gave me a subtle nod. Her outburst had sealed her fate. In light of the overwhelming evidence, the judge sentenced Margaret Phillips to life in prison without parole. When they led her past me, she stopped. "I hope you're happy," she hissed. "You've ruined everything." "No," I replied calmly. "You did that yourself. The only difference is that this time your target fought back." Back at the house, Isaiah was waiting. The FBI finished processing the study. They found this. He handed me a small box. Inside was a key and a note. "For when justice blooms, check the greenhouse." The greenhouse was Dad's sanctuary. Inside, among his prized orchids, was a large envelope. It held a deed and another letter. "My dearest Maddie," it read, "justice wasn't the only thing I wanted to cultivate. The deed is for the vacant lot next to your old flower shop. It's time for Harrison Gardens to grow. Some flowers bloom best after a frost. You've weathered your winter, Maddie. Now it's time to bloom again. Love always, Dad." I walked back to the house, clutching the deed. "He bought me the lot next to my old shop," I told them. "That's not all," Alia said, pulling out her tablet. "The Harrison Gardens trademark was registered 6 months ago. He set up everything. Business plans, permits, funding. All it needs is you. And us," Isaiah added. "I've learned a thing or two about gardening." A knock at the door revealed the detective, smiling. "Just thought you'd want to know, with your father's evidence. We're closing over a dozen cold cases connected to Margaret. Dad would have liked that." "So," Alia said, pulling out a legal pad with a familiar glint in her eye, "should I start drawing up the business papers for Harrison Gardens?" I looked out at Dad's garden, at the roses blooming despite everything. Beyond them, I could see the future he had planned for me, not just survival, but flourishing. "Yes," I said, feeling stronger than I had in years. "It's time to grow something new." To Dad, Isaiah raised his coffee mug. 2. Justice, Olia added. I raised my own. Through the window, the garden glowed, each flower a testament to Dad's belief that beauty can grow in life's hardest soil. He'd given me more than justice. He'd given me back my future. 1. Bloom at a time.